So I think pretty much all Star Wars fans, whether or not you agree with everything Kathleen Kennedy has done, whether or not you love the sequels or hate the sequels, I think we can all pretty much agree that there's been a major lack of appearances, public appearances especially, by Kathleen Kennedy. There's been a lack of interviews that she's done. Even people like J.J. Abrams has done more Star Wars interviews ever since The Rise of Skywalker came out than Kathleen Kennedy did. And if you remember back to the Force Awakens era, whenever, Star Wars was on top of the world, whenever Kathleen Kennedy was a rock star in the eyes of the fans, she was doing interviews left and right. She was making public appearances left and right. And could you imagine if there was a Star Wars celebration tomorrow and Kathleen Kennedy went out on the stage? She would get booed off the stage immediately. So I don't blame her necessarily, but at the same time, if you're trying to be a true leader of a corporation, or not really a corporation, but the true leader of a studio in Lucasfilm, you should be able to make public appearances not only when you're on top of the world, but also when you're under attack. Also when your studio or a part of your studio with Star Wars isn't necessarily doing extremely well and you don't look very good in the public eye, you should still be able to make public appearances and kind of try to save face a little bit, show everyone that, hey, I got this under control, we're gonna turn this ship around. And I think step number one would be to admit that you did make some mistakes in the past, but we all know that they would never do that, especially Kathleen Kennedy. She would never do that, but she does make public appearances every once in a while. She does do interviews every once in a while, and for whatever reason, they do get buried. Well, someone dug one up today. Someone found an interview that Kathleen Kennedy did today, and we'll talk about what exactly she was talking about later on, but I do just want to show you exactly what she said in this clip first and let you form your own opinions, and then after that I will tell you the details about this clip and the drama around this clip, because there is a lot of drama around this clip. A lot of people are saying a lot of different things about it. A lot of people think she's talking about a lot of different things. First, like I said, I will show you the clip and let you decide for yourself. Then I'll go into all the details after.
There's always going to be people, when you make something that's somewhat controversial, that are just flat out not going to like what you're doing.
Right.
And we didn't make the movie for them. That ultimately, if that's their response, is to just cut it off and not even try.
Now, as you can see, this tweet is from the account Jar Jar Abrams, and it does say message from Kathleen Kennedy to Star Wars fans. A lot of the controversy that's surrounding this topic, though, is that people are saying that this isn't actually a message to Star Wars fans. Regardless, though, it does give us some insight into Kathleen Kennedy's kind of perspective on the fandom, what she thinks about the fans of her movies. But if we go to the quote tweets, which there's too many to look through, but apparently Ryan Kinnell, and we can go to this article right here from Geeks and Gamers. Kathleen Kennedy's latest fan attack is a hoax. The newest assault on fandom is a false flag operation. Twitter user Jar Jar Not Abrams posted what he claimed was a clip of Kathleen Kennedy trashing Star Wars fans who didn't like the sequel trilogy. She laughs as she says it wasn't made for them. Check it out below. That's the clip that I just showed you. I don't think that he said anything, he didn't say anything that specific. He didn't say she was trashing on fans who didn't like the sequel trilogy. He only said it's a message from Kathleen Kennedy to Star Wars fans. And even if it's not straight up to Star Wars fans, who really cares? She's talking about the color purple. And if she's talking to fans of her movies, that's just how she thinks in her mind about fans of her movies. So she is kind of talking to Star Wars fans in that sense, because we know that if she thinks about fans of different movies in that way, that she probably thinks of Star Wars fans in the same way. And honestly, I don't blame her. I think that's how everyone should think in life. If you don't like what I'm saying, then I'm not talking to you. But whenever it comes to making movies and you want to make the most amount of money possible, it is just pretty stupid to not make Star Wars movies for Star Wars fans. And I think that's what they kind of did, but not on purpose. I think they accidentally made Star Wars movies that weren't for Star Wars fans when they were trying to make the movies for original Star Wars fans, but also make the movies for new Star Wars fans, to bring in new Star Wars fans. And once the old Star Wars fans, once the OG Star Wars fans didn't like those movies, they just said, you know what, they're not for you, we don't like you, we don't want you involved anyway. I don't think they originally wanted everyone that was OG fans of Star Wars to be excluded from being able to enjoy those movies. I think the biggest mistake, though, was to not realize their mistake, was to not admit their mistake and change it for the future movies and change it for the future content. I think it took them honestly 5 movies if you include Solo and Rogue One, which Rogue One wasn't that bad. Rogue One was pretty good, but I don't think that it was technically made for the OG Star Wars fans. I think it was still trying to get the new Star Wars fan base in there, and I think it took them 5 movies and The Mandalorian to come out to finally realize that, hey, if we just pander to these OG Star Wars fans, the word of mouth will bring in a whole bunch of new Star Wars fans as well. Now they're finally starting to figure it out, but Kathleen Kennedy still has that mindset about the fandom, where if you don't like the movie that I'm making, it's because it's not made for you, and we don't want you here ever again. Just leave. We don't want you in this fandom ever again. But yeah, as Ryan Kendall points out, it was about The Color Purple from 1985. I don't think it was technically a hoax, because I think it is very much it's showing her mindset when it comes to the fandom. And I think this is important information to know. So I don't think that Jar Jar Abrams was trying to bait everyone. I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit whenever he said it's a message to Star Wars fans, because it's not technically a message to Star Wars fans. But at the same time, it kind of is a message to Star Wars fans. No matter which way you look at it, she is talking about fandom and fandom of her movies, the stuff that she's created. And for her to say that it's not made for you, it kind of does sum up how she feels about the Star Wars fans as well. It sums up how we thought that she thinks about the Star Wars fans. It's kind of their attitude. They never said it directly to us, but it is kind of their attitude about the whole thing. And some other lower level people have pretty much straight up said it to us that they weren't made for us. We've heard that a million times. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you think about this little clip from Kathleen Kennedy? Do you think that she was talking to Star Wars fans? Do you think that this was very misleading from Jar Jar Abrams? Because there were a lot of controversy around this. If you don't know who Data Racer is, he's a very good, I would call him a journalist. He does very good investigative work when it comes to certain people, when it comes to certain stories. He's the one that found out all the stuff about Leslie Headland and the Acolyte, wherever she was talking about how she has someone writing the Acolyte who's never seen Star Wars before. She hired her to do the Acolyte. So he does very good investigative work, and he's defending Jar Jar Abrams here. He says it's from the past for sure. Jar Jar Abrams dropping nukes as always. And then someone sent him the article saying it's a hoax. She's not talking about Star Wars. Data Racer then says it's not a hoax. That's how he does his work. Jar Jar Abrams' source is crazy hard to find sound bites exposing Kathleen Kennedy, clips showing her opinions, agenda, and how she thinks, etc. Been doing so since way before The Last Jedi. He didn't say this is about Star Wars. He's exposing who she is. I agree with that. I think that he is exposing who she is, and I think this does carry over into Star Wars and into Lucasfilm and all of her projects. If this is her mindset, then this isn't just her mindset for The Color Purple. This is her mindset for everything that she does, including Star Wars. And I think it honestly is probably magnified in Star Wars because the fan base is already existing and extremely strong from the already existing fan base. So she has to have that mindset for Star Wars too, and it's probably extremely, like I said, magnified when it comes to Star Wars. So I don't think this is a hoax. I don't think this is a bait and switch or anything like that. Maybe the caption of the tweet was a little bit misleading, where he says it's a message to Star Wars fans, because it's not a message to Star Wars fans. But I think we can all figure that out pretty quickly, that she wouldn't ever straight up say that to Star Wars fans. It's obviously just exposing her mindset when it comes to Star Wars. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this was all a hoax? Do you think it's no big deal? Or do you think it truly is exposing Kathleen Kennedy's mindset when it comes to Star Wars and all of her other movies like I do? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you did enjoy this video though, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the links to that in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you next one.